the Wikimedia coordinator at the National Library of the Netherlands. And I would like to share my work, which I'm doing about creating linked open data for Dutch public libraries using Wikidata. And my story starts roughly a year ago when I was at the GLAM Wiki conference in Tel Aviv in Israel. And there two men with very similar shirts and equally similar hairdos met. And on the left, that's me. And a year ago, I didn't have any practical knowledge and skills about Wikidata. I looked at Wikidata and I looked at the items and I played with it, but I wasn't able to make a Sparkle query or to do data modeling or to write a shape expression. That's a year ago. And on the left-hand side, that's Simon Kopp, user SIG19. And I was talking to him because just before, he had given a presentation about improving the coverage of public libraries in Wikidata. And I was very inspired by his talk. And basically, he was talking about adding basic data about public libraries. So the name of the library, if available, a photo of the building, the address data of the library, the geo-coordinates, latitude, longitude, and some other things, including all source references. And what I was very impressed about a year ago was this map. This is a map about public libraries in the UK with all the colors, and you can see that all the libraries are layered by library organizations. And I was really, when he showed this, I was, wow, that's cool. So then 1 minute later, I thought, well, let's do it for the country, for that one. And something about public libraries in the Netherlands. There are about 1,300 library branches in our country, grouped into 160 library organizations. And you might wonder, why do I want to do this project? Well, first of all, because for the common good, for society, because I think using Wikidata and from there creating Wikipedia articles and opening up via the linked open data cloud, it's improving visibility and reusability of public libraries in the Netherlands. And my second goal is actually a more personal one, because a year ago I had this yearly evaluation with my manager, and we decided it was a good idea that I got more practical skills on linked open data, data modeling, and also on Wikidata. And of course, I wanted to be able to make these kinds of maps myself. Then you might wonder, why do I want to do this? Isn't there already enough basic library data out there in the Netherlands to have a good coverage? So let me show you some of the websites that are available to discover address and location information about Dutch public libraries. And the first one is this one, gidsvoornederland.nl, and that's the official public library inventory maintained by my library, the National Library. And you can look up addresses and geo-coordinates on that website. Then there is this site, Bibliotheekinzicht. This is also an official website maintained by my National Library, and this is about public library statistics. Then there is another one, debibliotheken.nl. As you can see, there's also address information about library organizations, not about individual branches. And there's even this one, which also has address information. And of course, there's something like Google Maps, which also has all the names and the locations and the addresses. And this one, the international one, Library Technology, which has a worldwide inventory of libraries, including the Netherlands. And I even discovered there is a data set you can buy for 50 euros or so to download it. And there is also, seems to be, I didn't download it, but there seems to be address information available. And you might wonder, is this kind of data good enough for the purposes I had? This is my birthday list for my ideal public library data list. And what's on my list? First of all, the data I want to have must be up-to-date-ish. It must be fairly up-to-date, so it doesn't have to be real time, but let's say a couple of months or half a year delayed with official publication. That's okay for my purposes. And I want to have it both the library branches, and the library organizations. Then I want my data to be structured, because it has to be machine readable. It has to be in open file formats, such as CSV or JSON, RDF. It has to be linked to other resources, preferably. And the license on the data needs to be manifest public domain or CC0. Then I would like my data to have an API, which must be public, free, and preferably also anonymous, so that you don't have to use an API key or have to register an account. And I also want to have a Sparkle interface. So now these are all the sites I just showed you, and now I'm going to make a big grid. And then this is about the evaluation I did. I'm not going into it, but there is no single column which has all green check marks. That's the important thing to take away. And so in summary, there was no linked public free, linked open data for Dutch public libraries available before I started my project. So this was the ideal motivation to actually work on it. So that's what I've been doing for a year now, and I've been adding libraries bit by bit, organization by organization, to Wikidata. I created also a project website on it. It's still rather messy, but it has all the information, and I try to keep it as up-to-date as possible. And also all the Sparkle queries you can see are linked from here. And I'm just adding really basic information. You see the instances, images if available, addresses, locations, etc., municipalities. And where possible, I also try to link the libraries to external identifiers. And then you can really easily, we all know, generating some listeria lists with public libraries grouped by organizations, for instance, or using Sparkle queries, you can also do aggregation on data. Let's say that give me all the municipalities in the Netherlands and the number of library branches in all the municipalities. With one click, you can make these kinds of photo galleries. And what I set out to do first, you can really create these kinds of maps. And you might wonder, are there any libraries here or there? There are, but they're not yet in Wikidata. We're still working on that. And actually, last week I spoke with a volunteer he's helping now with entering the libraries. And you can really make cool in Wikidata, and also using the cartographer extension, you can use these kinds of maps. And I even took it one step further. I also have some Python skills and some leaflet skills. So I created, and I'm quite proud of it actually, I created this library heat map, which is fully interactive. You can zoom into it and you can see all the libraries. And you can also run it off Wiki. So you can just embed it in your own website, and it fully runs interactively. So now going back to my big scary table. There is one column on the right which is blank. And no surprise, there will be Wikidata. And let's see how it scores there. Yeah. So this is... So actually thinking of printing this on a t-shirt. Yeah. So just to summarize this in words, thanks to my project now there is public, free, linked open data available for Dutch public libraries. And who can benefit from my effort? Well, all kinds of parties. You see Wikipedia, because you can generate lists and overviews and articles, for instance, using this mbabel tool from Wikidata. For our own national library, for later IFLA also have an inventory of worldwide libraries. They can also reuse that data. And especially for Sandra, it's also important for the Dutch Ministry of Culture, because Sandra is going to have a talk about Wikidata with the ministry this Monday, next Monday. And also on the right-hand side, for instance, Amazon with Alexa, the assistant, they're also using Wikidata. So you can imagine that they also use, if you're looking for public library information, they can also use Wikidata for that. Because 1 year ago, Simon Kopp inspired me to do this project, I would like to call upon you, if you have time available, and if you have data from your own country about public libraries, make the coverage better, add more red dots. And of course, I'm willing to help you with that, and Simon is also willing to help with that. And so I hope next year somebody else will be at this conference or another conference, and there will be